Yes, so I just give a very short introduction about this focus for the mountain cluster. So among the large variety of risks and hazards that we study within the cluster, we decided to make a focus on hazards and risks related to glaciers and permafrost. So types of risks that we call in French ROGP. So Olivier GAGLIARDINI, who is a specialist of these processes, will give a detailed presentation just after on some recent and very nice results. But just to introduce the topic, I wanted to give a rapid overview here of all types of activities that are conducted on these ROGPs within the cluster, and you see here on this slide that we cover pretty much all the aspect, all the different components of the risks, from monitoring using different types of techniques, remote sensing, geophysical monitoring, different types of modeling, mechanical modeling, statistical modeling, the building of long-term chronology or of maps and inventories of the hazards and of the risks, specific studies on the climatology of the cryosphere, as well also as studies on risk perceptions among different actors that may be affected by these risks. So in fact, most of the labs of the involved in the cluster are more or less active on this topic. And the thing is that, as you know, certainly, there is a rapidly increasing number of hazardous events and situations at risks related with these glacier and permafrost related risks. And we are more and more frequently contacted and called upon by local communities, state services, private actors to provide expertise or to provide support on these aspects. So this allows us to build very strong connections with a lot of different partners. And I mentioned here in particular two important partners with whom we have strong connection, the Pôle Alpin des Risques Naturels and the RTM services in France. And we develop with this partner a large variety of projects and actions in which expertise and technical aspects and research aspects are usually strongly interconnected. There is also a very ambitious national program on this topic, which is called the PAPRO program, in which Grenoble is strongly active. And this is also a topic to which we can develop international and in particular transnational collaboration with our neighbors in Italy, in Switzerland, and notably with who are obviously faced with similar issues. So as in line with the objectives of the cluster and of the institute, we try to promote a sort of holistic approach on these ROGP, so with the need to progress on all the dimensions of the risk and the physical, but also the socio-environmental aspects, to integrate all the spatial scales that are involved, and also, last but not least, to integrate also the temporal aspects with the need to better understand past evolution in order to predict what is ahead of us in the context of climate change. So I stop here and I leave the floor now to Olivier, who is Olivier GAGLIARDINI. So Olivier is professor at University of Grenoble and researcher at IGE, and he's a specialist of all things glacier modeling and glacier monitoring. So Olivier, if you want, you should be able to share your screen.
Yes. So thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry not for being in Grenoble. I'm spending 1 year abroad in Oslo for sabbatical, and so I will make my presentation on Zoom. So after this very large and huge presentation of all the activity that are performed in the Risk Institute, I will give a presentation that will be much more focused on what we are doing at IGE in terms of ROGP, so risk d'origine glaciaire et périglaciaire, so glacier-related and permafrost hazard, and it will even be even more focused because it will be only on glacier and not permafrost hazard. So at IGE, it involves quite a number of people, researcher and engineer, and also I will say it's a transverse in a three team of IGE. So if we can change slide. Yeah, so my presentation will give a first a brief overview of what are we talking about when we are speaking about glacier-related hazards. And then I will show what are the activity at IGE regarding research, but also expertise on this field, and give some example of the glacier that are currently monitored by IGE. And here I put some illustration to show that this activity means a lot of field work for sure, but also modeling, and also the writing of a lot of reports to document this activity. So in terms of risk, there is mostly two types of hazards related to glacier. The first are the hazards that are related to the ice or the fall of ice, the breaking of a glacier. So it can be by the destabilization of glacier tongue, like the Alain Glacier, and what might happen at the Boson Glacier in the Alps. That can be because of the breaking of a hanging glacier. So hanging glacier is a glacier that stands on the strong slope, or that can be from the fall of a seracs. And all these three cases give conduct to ice avalanches. And the risk is associated to these ice avalanches. Another possible risk linked to ice is the advance of a glacier. And when we speak about advance of glacier, it's not only a glacier that is surging, which is not happening that much in the Alps, but that can be also, that was the case in the past when glaciers were advancing in the valley and frightening the people living in this valley. This is obviously not anymore the case with the warming climate. So the second type of risk are associated to water that is stored in the glacier, and it can be stored in different form. It can be stored at the front of glacier, so we call them the proglacial lake. And when the glacier is retreating, there is very often the place for a glacier to form. And the dam of this glacier can be rocks or sediments or moraine, but it can be also part of the glacier. And so there are different hazards associated with this. The lakes can form also at the surface of a glacier. We call them supraglacial lake, or the water can be inside the glacier at the interface between the bedrock and the ice, and in the form of a water pocket, like it was the case for the Tetros glacier. In all these cases, if the risk is associated with a very fast and imprevisible release of the water, giving rise to what we call a GLOF, or a glacial-like outburst flood that can go down to the valley. So, yeah, what are we doing at IGE in terms of glacier hazard? There is really two types of activity. The first type is the classical one we are doing in a research lab, is the research activity, and we are mostly focusing at IGE on the process at play for glacier-related hazards, both from a modeling and the observational point of view. And we get quite recently funding from directly from the French state through the ecology ministry, and I will come back on this, but also with collaboration with colleagues like colleagues from Italy, the Fondation Montagne Sûre in Italy. And the second activity is an activity linked to expertise, and in link with particular glacier. And this glaciological expertise on glacier-related hazard, we are for this expertise we are working with a lot of different state agency and municipality. I have listed here some of the partners that are involved in the monitoring of this glacier. And there, the funding comes directly from the municipality for 20% and the French government for 80%. And the sites we are currently monitoring are the Tétros Glacier above the Saint-Gervais-les-Bains cities, the Bosson for the lake, but now for the glacier, and the Tacona Glacier above Chamonix, and also the Rosolin Lake above Tigny. And we have quite a nice view for the next 5 years. And I tried to make to put some numbers. So you have seen the list of colleagues working with me on the first slide, but it's almost 20 permanent researchers that are involved, not full-time for sure, but that are involved in this activity. And it's equivalent to 3 to 4 full-time people. There will be 4 postdocs from 1 to 5 years, 1 year engineer, 1 PhD, and estimated to be equivalent to 2.4 full-time. And it's a bit more than 2 million euro, both on the research and expertise. And it's almost half on research and half on the expertise side. So the context in France has evolved these last years, and it's mainly due to what we call the PAPROG, so it's Plan d'Action pour la prévention des risques d'origine glaciaire et périglaciaire, which is a program that is funded by the French Minister de la Transition écologique et de la cohésion des territoires, so the French Minister of Ecology. And it comes together with a report that was commissioned by the Minister of Ecology, Interior and Research, and that was delivered 2 years ago in December 2022. And that make a current state of risk management in France in link with glacier-related hazards. And there was a lot of recommendation in this report, and I'm just giving one over the 8, I think, recommendation that was made in this report. And one of these recommendation was to create RGP observatory in the form of scientific interest group. So it's a kind of a specific French organization to build an operational community bringing together scientists and risk managers around RGPs, which could naturally be hosted by OSUG or the Risk Institute. So very in link with what we are presenting today. I'm not sure we are yet there, but this impulsion has clearly changed the support we get from the French state. So speaking more about this PAPROG program that has been signed with, so here the number I'm giving is just the number for IGE, knowing that there are a lot of other partners involved in this program. There are other labs like ISTER and EDITEM in Grenoble and in Chambéry, and RTM and Météo France in Grenoble, the Centre d'études de la neige in Grenoble. For IGE, we have signed a contract of 5 years. So we know what we will do in the next 5 years from 2024 to 2028. And the objective is to build an operational numerical model for managing glacier-related hazards. And the objective is to diagnose glaciers at risk for water pocket formation. That's an important task. And or destabilization. And the second objective is to identify the processes that play a key role in describing the thermomechanical behavior of ice. And for that, we got 5 years of postdoc plus 1 PhD and also some money to do some field work on the Tacona Glacier. There is also money at IGE dedicated to the update of the inventory of the glacier in the French Alps. And because at the IGE, but it's very specific, we are not only CNRS or UGA people, there is also INRAE people. And so they have a special convention. Maybe it will change in the future, but for now they have a special convention. And I just give here an example of the type of research that is paid by PAPROG for the INRAE colleagues. So they are working on the ice avalanche and the retro-analysis of this ice avalanche to improve the modeling of that kind of ice avalanche. We are also working with colleagues abroad and on this glacier hazard. And especially we have a contract with the Fondazione Montagna Sicura in Italy, in Courmayeur, just on the other side of the Mont Blanc. And we are working on the Plampensio Glacier and Wimper-Sérac that are two glaciers that present risk, and we are collaborating on the objective is to understand the Plampensio summer acceleration destabilization, and for the Wimper-Sérac is to characterize the extent of the temperate area and to try to understand how fast this glacier is warming. And for that, we get also some resources like some months of postdoc and engineer for the ST. And we will do this summer some drilling and instrumentation of both glaciers. So that was kind of for the research activity. Now for the expertise activity and for the monitoring of glacier, we also get, and that's new and it's very welcome, a kind of 5-year view of what we will have to do. So we signed a contract with the DDT 74, so the Haute-Savoie DTT service, which is a representative of the French state for this department. And the objective is to continue the monitoring of the Tacona and the Bosson Glacier, which are two glaciers that are not currently presenting a risk, but that we know that they will present a risk in the future. And so it's to kind of follow how this risk will evolve in the future. So I have listed here all the items, but I will just illustrate what we will do on the two next slides. So for the Bosson Glacier, the objective is to, because the glacier is retreating, and the objective is to see how the hydrology of the basin will change when the glacier will retreat. So currently, all the water is mostly flowing in the cruise stream on the right side of the glacier, but it might happen that because of the glacier retreat, the hydrology change and that most of the water will go in the Bosson stream, which might be a problem in the future because all the infrastructure along this stream are not designed for the huge amount of water that is currently flowing in the cross stream. The second subject of research, of monitoring for this glacier is when the tongue of the glacier, which is currently here, when the tongue of the glacier will retreat, it might become unstable, and so we have to study, and because there is a lot of infrastructure and inhabitants above, we have to study this stability of the tongue. The second glacier that is monitored during in the framework of this DDT 74 contract is the glacier of Tacona, which is a cold glacier, and which is a stable glacier because it's cold currently, but we have a lot of already almost 20 years of measurements of the temperature and the evolution of the temperature within the glacier, and we can see that the temperature is increasing, and it's increasing much more than the air temperature, and so at some stage the ice will become temperate at the base of the glacier, and there is a risk that the glacier becomes unstable. And now I'm ending this presentation by listing the glacier that we are currently monitoring, and for which we are giving we are currently reporting every year and meeting with other partners that follow this glacier. So the first one and the historical one is the Tétrousse glacier and its water pocket, and it's with the Saint-Gervais-les-Bains city. And it has started in 2007 when we discovered a water pocket within the glacier that was drained. So here you have the historical, on this plot you have the historic of the water level within the pocket since the first drainage in 2010. And so it's a contribution of IGE and also ISTER working on this since 2010. It's more than 1 million euro of funding to monitor this glacier. It's a lot of reports, but also some scientific publication on this glacier. Last year, maybe you have heard about it because it was even in the first page of the Libération journal. We have drained one lake at the front of the Bosson glacier by digging a channels. You can see it here on the. So here is the glacier. It's quite black, but it's ice. So channels were digged on the glacier, and then the lake was drained using this channel, and now the lake is completely empty, and the hazard related to this lake is not existing anymore. So what we did a lot of measurements and a lot of modeling of the lack growth and the overflow drainage. And we also took the opportunity during the drainage of the lake through the channel to put some instrumentation to kind of better understand how it works, how the channel, how the flow of the water within the channel will melt the bottom of the channel and conduct to the incision rate we have measured during this drainage of 1 week. So the lake was drained in 1 week at a rate of 1 meter per day. And the last glacier we are working on, it's very similar to the Bosson lake. It's the Tignes Lake that has grown since 2016. And we did the first measurement last year in 23. But since then, we have already made 5 reports, 7 meetings, and it's quite a number of money for the different measurements we have performed that are listed here. And so you can see here on this lake that the glacier is on the right here. And on the left, there is a stream, a natural stream. And so last year, there was a solution that was found to decrease the volume of the lake quickly, and that was to dig channels, but in the rocks on this side. And here you can see from the red to the blue how the lake volume has decreased, or size has decreased during the summer season. But the problem is not solved because there is still water, and this lake will still grow in the future because the glacier is melting and shrinking here. And so we will have to continue monitoring this lake and find a better solution than just digging on the rock because it will not solve the problem. So to conclude, at IGE there is really 2 types of activity. One activity is on research on this glacier-related hazard, and one activity is on the expertise. But both are intertwined because we are working on the same glacier for both, and trying to understand better the processes on this glacier that we are also monitoring for the risk expertise. Clearly, this recent year, there is a real willingness of the French state to support this research on glacier-related hazard. But there are still a lot of processes that are badly represented in your model, and so we are not able to really prognostic modeling of what will happen, for example, in terms of glacier destabilization. So we need to do more research. And also maybe of climate warming, there is more and more expertise activities due to the increase of glacier to monitor. And it's really time demanding because it's a lot of meeting, it's a lot of report, it's a lot of on-site measurements. And we can clearly see that we reach our limit in terms of the amount of glacier we can monitor. And we certainly need some more person to work on this, and a permanent person, I mean. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you for your attention.